I'm Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11, taking a look at tonight's five-game slate on FanDuel and DraftKings. Pitching, runs pretty heavy in this one. There's a pitcher in each game that's worth using. Some have two. Should be a somewhat low-scoring night. I'm not expecting a ton of games. There's three West Coast games. There's one in Kansas City. The only favorable ballpark is Baltimore, although it's 98, 99 in Kansas City. That does well for hitters. But look here, Madison Bumgarner comes in as the top option on the slate for me tonight. Cash game GPP playable. Like what he's done this year, obviously when healthy. Yeah, he had a kind of mediocre start against San Diego, but back at home where he's always kind of thrived against the San Diego team, also that ranks 30th in WOBA, 25.7% strikeout rate. You're looking at Bumgarner as your number one here. He just stands the best spot. Home favorite, minus 190. San Diego has the lowest implied run total on the board. So a line that could be without, Renfroe, who's a right-hand or a guy who does hit lefties pretty well. Although for some reason Jabari Blast just keeps nailing opposing pitchers, so maybe he'll be able to get him out. But overall, this is a line that Bumgarner should be able to handle quite nicely. And like I say, it just comes in as that top option with the easiest matchup and by far the highest upside. So if I'm choosing number two on tonight's slate, I like Severino. I like Michael Fulmer. I think those two are kind of the guys who are fighting for that second spot. Neither do I love, but I do like them. I think the price tags are somewhat overinflated on DraftKings a bit. I think FanDuel, they're intriguing GPP spin-offs of Bumgarner because he'll be the popular option. You look at Fulmer, I think 10-2 on DraftKings. I was hoping to see the price down a little bit. But 4 of his last 5 games, obviously 20-plus DK points in each, 40-plus FanDuel points in each of those. He's been above 6 innings in 6 straight starts. He hasn't allowed more than 300 runs in that span as well. You got to go back to about a little bit over a month and a half ago when he's allowed over 300 runs. So Fulmer's been pretty strong. I just wish the price tag was a little bit cheaper on him. But Royals offense against righties, bottom 10 in the league. It's a team that does strike out a little bit more than they have in previous years, 21% against righties. This is a lineup where I can definitely see Fulmer kind of getting through. But I also think this game's kind of somewhat intriguing on the hitter side just because of the ballpark factors. It is about 100 degrees. Vegas doesn't have this one kind of low scoring, right around 4.5 implied run total for each team. It's basically a pick 'em as well. Fulmer Bumgarner, I think that's an intriguing way to go on DraftKings tonight, but I think you can probably do a little bit cheaper as your SP2, get about 15 DK points and kind of be able to get some bats that you like, because I think the Dodgers bats are going to come in obviously as ones that you want some sort of exposure to, and probably some of those Rangers as well. So I like Fulmer. I think he's playable in all formats on DraftKings. FanDuel, he's just that swerve. On the other side, Danny Duffy, obviously this, Detroit lineup, it took a hit with J.D. Martinez leaving, especially against left-handers. The bats of James McCann, yeah, he hits lefties well. Matuk's hit lefties well. Obviously, Cabrera's been struggling, but due for positive regression. Upton, Castellanos, Kinsler. This is a tough lineup to kind of get through. Danny Duffy, I kind of like what he's seen over his last few starts. It's just kind of tough to use him against this Tigers team. I think he's a deep GPP play at most. 8,300 on DraftKings isn't all that bad of a price tag for him as an SP2. And we've seen the Tigers team fall flat before, so I don't think it's the worst tournament move in the world, so I'm okay with using him. The lefty I kind of like for the upside tonight, even though he hasn't shown a ton of upside, and that's Cole Hamels. Over his last few starts, he's actually looked really, really good. Kind of looked back to his usual self. He's allowed 200 runs since that blow up against Cleveland, where he allowed 7 over 4.1, 6-6, 5 strikeouts over his last 3 starts. He's worked into the 7th in all 3. I think he's a logical SP2 on tonight's slate. FanDuel, he's just GPP once again. Everyone that's not named Bumgarner is just GPP only. But Hamels, somewhat intriguing, 9,400. I wish we got a little bit more of a discount, but I'm okay with it. Like I said, look at Hamels, 12.1 swing strike rate, 8.4, 9.4 over his last 3 starts. That's kind of what we've been starting to missing. He's getting a lot of swings and misses outside of the strike zone. It's also something we want to see out of him. This Baltimore team is free swinging. They only walk 6% of the time against lefties, 25% strikeout rate. They're also 20th in WOBA. Vegas, you kind of got to look aside if you're picking solely off of Vegas or take a heavier indicator in Vegas, because Hamels is basically a small underdog. Baltimore still has a 5-run total, so you're kind of going against the grain there. But I don't think Hamels is a bad option tonight. So outside of that, Luis Severino, I kind of glossed over when I was talking about Fulmer, and got lost in Duffy. Severino, an intriguing pivot away from Bumgarner tonight. Seattle offense that, yes, they can be tamed at times. They are still top half in WOBA against righties. They do have a 21% strikeout rate. You obviously love what Severino's brought to the table this year. 3.29 Sierra, 28% strikeout rate. Doesn't walk guys either, just a 6.3% walk rate. And it misses bats 12.1%, which is the highest on the main slate. I think Severino's an intriguing one. I don't mind going after him. This game's somewhat small. He's a small favorite on the road. Yankees offense has cooled off a bit. This is kind of like talking about Hamels, where you look at what Felix Hernandez has done this year, been pretty mediocre, but at least the swinging strike rate's been up. And it's been up actually quite a bit here of late. He's had a couple games where he's had some bad starts, but 11.8% swinging strike rate, 9% swinging strike rate, 10.3% swinging strike rate over his last 3 starts. Those are numbers that I like to see out of Felix, and especially in the Yankees team that does strike out quite a bit. And you look, Hernandez, struggled obviously against Kansas City. Games before that, 5.8, 5, 5, 6 strikeouts over his last 5 starts, has worked 6 innings in 4 of those. I think Hernandez actually has a decent floor even against this Yankees offense that is, top 5 in the league. But just given the fact that they have struggled, adding Todd Frazier, yes, it gives them a little bit of a bump at third base, but also gives them a strikeout rate as well. So someone intrigued here. I think Hernandez 7,600 is DK playable as an SP2. I'm okay with that, so you can feel free to go with him. As far as other guys go, Chacin, I just don't see the upside tonight. Brandon McCarthy, Fultonowitz are guys I don't see the upside with. I know Texas is really bad against lefties. They're 26th in WOBA, but they have a 26.4% strikeout rate. But I'm never going to use Wade Miley in any format. So I'll fade there. He's just been so bad. I'd rather pick on him with a couple of Texas bats and take that side instead. So on FanDuel, it's pretty clear. Cash game guy, Madison Bumgarner. I think you lock him in. I think Severino, Fulmer, Hamels are all logical pivots away from him in GPPs. On DraftKings, obviously, I think Fulmer and Severino have a little bit more cash game value if you want to go that route, but I don't know if I'll be paying the 2-pitcher route that's up over double digits. I think Bumgarner, obviously, cash game playable there, of course. But I think you can look cheaper. You can look at a Hamels. You can look at a Felix Hernandez for your SP2 spot and kind of get some sort of bats and not go the Fulmer route or the Severino route, who are a little bit overpriced. So I think they're fine options in GPP still, but that's just kind of a cash game approach and also the tournament approach. So that's going to wrap it up. You can head over to DaveFantasyCafe.com, check out the great tools and content.